like the only real place that you like feel like you want to go to is Queen Street, I guess, or Queen Battery Street. So you know, especially when I left home when I was 16, I would just sleep outside of the store I worked out on Queen and you know, play guitar for money as a homeless bum. And I'm still doing it as a homeless bum, I guess.
That's cool. Like, so I'm just asking this. When I listen to music, it seems like I think you know like where you hung out. Like the bow line for me seems like.
Yeah, I think I was only there of legal age, like only 3 times in my life. But before
that,
actually, I think in Toronto we're kind of famous for being the people that threw the cinder block through their window. Unfortunately, it's because they screwed me and Tony over. Tony used to work at the Bovine, bass player and my partner. We've been together for like 8 years, and they wouldn't let him in to watch our set because they had an ex-girlfriend there, something really high school like that. And then that night there was a cinder block, and it just kind of happened. But now we're besties.
Alright. So where would you say you got your like your big start from? Was it the Guns N' Roses show that you opened for? I don't know, the Edge Fest you played? Like where do you think that happened?
I think the biggest thing was when I was 16, so people, like, you know, all the labels, they're watching you even when you don't know. Like, back when I was 15, they were interested in signing me, and then they signed me when I was 16 with EMI Publishing. And that's a big move, and I got, you know, the best contract ever made in Canada, so moves like that kind of spread in the industry, like, and it's stupid to say, it's like, yeah, that helped a ton. And then obviously being signed to a major label, like it just kind of like you have a choice. They like plan it out for you, and you know a lot of them don't do the work that they should, and I don't even feel bad that they would. You know, but yeah, I mean the Guns N' Roses tour was a big tour. Deftones was a great tour. It's Marilyn Manson was a good tour. You know, and going to Germany like 7 times a year when we were doing that a lot, like that really helped. Really helped.
Comfortable doing stuff like that off the bat?
It was so weird. Like I think for Guns N' Roses, we got the call like 3 days before, and then all of a sudden we're in a stadium or whatever. So it's kind of like, so you know, we should have been doing that as we are a band right now. Like we're not even as tight as we should be, and like so I wonder what the hell I was doing before. But yeah, like I think those were good. You know, throwing us in, it just forced us to step up. You know, step up the game.
Huge boner for Bad Medicine. I don't know if that's like common knowledge, but every time like that song comes on, it's like, oh my god, I love it. I love her voice.
No way.
Did you?
It's so funny because Dean, I used to listen to Humble and Fred back in the day, and when he got replaced by, when Dean replaced him, I knew Dean from 89X in Detroit. So I was like, I called in I used to call the Edge all the time. I never paid for concert tickets. Like, I was that person like on the phone at weird hours talking to them, like I was like a weird teenager. And yeah, Dean, so I called him the first day he had a job, and he put me on the air. He's like, you remember me from 89X? And I was just like 12 years old at that point or something. And I'm like, yeah, totally. He's like, oh, I got it, no one believes me. I gotta wait till you and put you on the air. So, and then I reminded him that I think a couple years later, and he was like, no way. But yeah, the Edge has been great. Like Martin, rest in peace, Martin. He was awesome for us. Huge like promoter and you know pillar of persistence for our band. And that was back in the day, like Edge 102 radio station. They were for a while there was no really big boss. It was kind of like the inmates running the asylum, so to speak. And that was the best time because they threw in bands like USS and us, and they pushed it because no one was there to say no. And then you know now it's a little different. And you know when Marty left, I think that really crushed him, and the whole state of the industry I think crushed his spirit. But he was definitely a great human being and a great voice of in the musical world.
Okay, so that song kind of, I think it would be fair to say that song like really projected you guys being caught on.
Medicine, I thought it was Do It or Die then.
That one too. Those 2 songs are like very like Do It or Die, Mannequin, and you just know people those 2 songs. Yeah, do you think it's like that's a negative thing or a positive thing that's like you're really recognizable for those 2
crazy old management that was stealing all our money and we didn't know. Even stole our van, like 30, like he pocket everything. Can't even tell you what a klepto that guy is. Don't worry, I'll F him up in court. But cinder block. So awesome. You read my mind. Yeah, so I mean, now that we have our wheels back, he literally, like, he kept us off the road for like a year and a half, almost 2 years. And that's when you weren't really hearing of us because he said we weren't allowed to tour because I think he just spent all the tour budget and didn't want anyone to find out and warn about it. So now we're back in black, and you know, we have Dance Land, which is the 9-song EP that came out, and then I've been still waiting to do the full length, which like, because that's like the stuff that I can show where I've changed and like progressed, and I feel like Dance Land's awesome because it was ready and I just wanted to sing it with fans, because labels need like a year, 6 months to advance to have a release, so I feel like I'm glad it's out, but like inside I'm like, oh, I wish I could really show people like what I'm doing right and thinking right now musically.
So do you think that now you've changed like managers and all that, so you're gonna have that opportunity to change?
Exactly, yeah, especially with the indies, they, you know, I can be who I want to be now, and it's going to be really interesting, I think, to see, you know, at this point for Mannequin, like, musically, it's like, we can kind of go anywhere if you think about it, like, direction-wise, it's kind of a funny time, and that gives me, you know, great excitement. That's what makes me wet, you know?
Absolutely, that's exciting. Alright, that's sweet. So we have one last question. It's kind of our signature question we always ask, and you can answer however you want. What do you think life is?
It's supposed to be about the journey and not just end goal or some kids that want to be famous. What I've learned is, and I'm, you know, was the worst at this before, it's supposed to be, and in the end, when you reach whatever goal you want, you'll find that it doesn't bring you that happiness, it'll be more emptiness. So I think really it's supposed to be about the journey and, you know, finding that is actually where you'll have the most, find the most happiness.
All right,
I wish I could think about that one for 3 days and then come back to you.
It always throws people off guard.
Yeah.
But we'll get you next time you're around.
Peace, love, and die Mannequin. That's like...